welcome to the call. And also for all of you that are on the conference call right now that have served our country, and for all of you that have relatives, family members, brothers, sisters, aunts, cousins, parents, my father included, who served our country. I want to say happy Veterans Day to all of you. And I hope you're having an incredible Thursday this morning. So with that being said, what I have the opportunity to do right now is to introduce an amazing individual. He's not only an amazing individual, first time I heard him train, I had to shoot him a message. I realized we weren't connected on Facebook, and I had to send him a friend request. He blew it out of the water. And that last training, he was clear, he was concise, and he definitely knows his information. And here's why. He's a successful entrepreneur. He's been recognized for his ability to gather large numbers of customers and to retain them and train others to do the same. He spent some time in Australia and now resides in Texas. And I couldn't think of anybody better to share with us exactly how the customer acquisition process works and how to get it done. None other than Mr. Jomar Sharp. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Thank you for that introduction. I was like, who is he speaking about? Is that me? So I just want to say also, nice shirt. I like the V-neck. You know, we got the same style. I see it. You're a little more fit than me, but you know, I'll let that slide. Well, definitely thank you. And I just want to say welcome to everybody on the call. Before I begin anything, building on what Mr. Lewis, kind of recognized. Today is Veterans Day, Remembrance Day. It is a time to honor members of the armed forces. I actually just want to do a brief little history lesson. I'm not a history buff, but just want to share this. I thought this was interesting, that this holiday actually began in a railroad car with a document to end World War I, which is also known as the Great War. Germany was running low on manpower and supplies, so they signed what they call the armistice or truce in one of the French commander's private rail cars on the 11th day of the 11th month in the 11th hour in 1918, and the fighting ceased. Now we recognize it for anyone who has served in war and in peace in our armed forces. And that's how we recognize today. And it being here in Texas, it is a little after the 11th hour. So I just want to take one moment, if you join me in just a moment of silence to recognize those who have served and has allowed us the liberties and freedoms that we sometimes take for granted to have these calls and things like that. So I know everyone knows someone or of someone who has served. So just please, let's take a brief moment to recognize them. Thank you for that. And thank you again to those. So now let's get into the fun stuff. All right. So again, as Mr. Lewis has mentioned, my name is Jomar Sharp. I am currently in Texas. And I'm actually honored to actually be selected to actually train on a call. So I'm just really honored that Mr. Thomas, such a great individual, person, mentor, has selected me to do this. So I just want to share with you from my heart, and also I know from everyone on the call. I'm not sure if he's on the call. I can't see him on. I know he's got some other things going on currently, but definitely just want to say, give it back to him. Thank you. So I want to kick things off with a quick story and about actually why and how I got here on the screen in front of you. So on some random afternoon, Mr. Thomas actually, I saw his name pop up on my phone. And you know, the moment that happened, I jumped up without hesitation because I'm actually, I sit next to my wife in our home office. And so I jumped up, ran to the living room, and I did not. I didn't take a breath in between. I moved to the living room, and so after a brief kind of check in on how we're doing, how family's doing, how your team is doing, and things like that, he quickly switches gears, and he actually switches gears to a different tone. And I realized in that moment he was actually asking me if I was ready and I was willing to host a call, a morning call or a leadership call. And I'll be honest, I hesitated. I, I hesitated. My brain went blank. My body went still. My mouth went like, the Bugs Bunny, in the cartoons. That's all. Like, eyes was stuttering, everything. My palms got clammy. I mean, I started sweating on my forehead, and actually, I don't even sweat on my forehead. But actually, in that moment, my body stepped out of my body and saw myself standing there on the phone with Mr. Thomas. It was like I was in slow motion. And I was completely, utterly shocked. And somehow I was able to utter shakily, okay, sure, I can do it. I can do it. But right in that moment, when I saw myself in that slow motion, kind of my body stepping out of myself, I thought, what are you doing? Why did you agree to this? You can't do this. You've never spoken on Mr. Thomas's calls before. Well, you've spoken, but you've never led a call. You're not a good enough speaker for that. Wait, you can still change your mind. You can still change your mind. I'm sure you guys can imagine where I was in this moment. It's like, but you can still change your mind. Just go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. He'll accept the no, or maybe you can say, oh yeah, I got work. I got a work meeting. And I was like, wait, no, he's going to say, well, we're scheduled for another day, so I went through all of this in my mind, just telling myself, no, you can't do it. And I'm like, hurry up. You just make up an excuse. And we eventually get off the call, and, I proceed to write the date down in my notebook. And I just started to just think, why? Why did I agree to that? And I'm sure many of you on the call probably would recognize that type of feeling, that nervousness, that anxiety, and in that moment, I just had everything, just complete fear. Fear. I didn't want to do it. I got scared. But then eventually I said, you know what? I got this. We can make it through. So just to let you know, I mean, in that moment, I was nervous. Now, think about it. Mr. Thomas thought enough, and I told myself, think about it. Mr. Thomas thought enough to ask me. So he saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself in that moment. And I then also thought, you know what, Jomar, this is absolutely something you can do. If you can stand in front of 100 plus of your colleagues at your job, and you did it because it's your job and you were fine, why can't I do it for Mr. Thomas? Why can't I do it for myself? Why can't I do it for my business, for my future, for my family, including my ACN family? And I just asked myself, what is stopping me? So I really just really wasn't ready for it. But you know what? I overcame that fear, that thought, and actually just want to take a moment to give it back to you, Mr. Lewis, that, I was rattling my brain on what to speak about, ever since Mr. Thomas asked me, and your call on Tuesday triggered something in me, and one of the quotes that stood out was, if there was a loudspeaker on your mind, you'd be committed to an insane asylum. And it's so true, because in that moment when Mr. Thomas called me, I was going back and forth. There was this voice telling me this, that, I can't do it. You can do it. You can't do it. And it's so true. And we go through that in our business, in our daily lives, that we contemplate what's going to happen. And it's that fear that sets in. And so really what I wanted to call, so thank you, Mr. Lewis, for that, because, besides the cold showers and changing waking yourself up early and all of that, that's definitely made a great impact on myself, my life, and my family. So thank you for that. And so with this voice that we hear, that's why I titled, for those that need a title for today's training is titled Our Great Internal Battle. our great internal battle. So right now, I just want to play a quick video.
There are two types of people in this world when it comes to attitude and thought process. Now, the first set of people, these are the ones who wait for opportunities to come to them so that they can, quote unquote, take them. And they wait endlessly for some mirage or oasis to magically appear. Yet, it never comes to fruition. And they end up in some job that they had no intention of being in, doing some minuscule task that they had no desire of doing. All because they weren't willing to risk it. And the second set of people, these are the ones who find a way to create opportunities for themselves. These are the ones who make their own luck, so to speak.
And they opened the first
These people
Walton 5
are your Fortune 500 CEO types. These are the ones who live life on their terms.
its volume and promising future.
These are the ones that live the life that they wanted to, that they intended, that they envisioned. And the difference between the two sets of people comes down to this concept of fear. You know, the only fear that you should have in this life is fear in itself. Because those who aren't afraid to go after what they want in life are the ones who turn out to be successful. And every successful person has conditioned their mind to think that they are going to exceed in anything that they do. And success is often a result of not being afraid to accomplish anything that you want to. Because anything is possible. And a lot of people just disregard it, and they say to themselves that successful people are there because they were lucky or they were a product of good circumstance. But you are your own driving engine, and you are your own brake. Meaning that you are the only one who can determine your own fate. You know, we can look at a laundry list of billionaires who started with absolutely nothing and ultimately got to where they wanted to be. Sam Walton, Ralph Lauren, Harold Hamm, David Murdoch, Howard Schultz, Oprah Winfrey, Larry Ellison, John Paul DeJoria. All these people started with nothing and built their empires through a gradual process by putting in the hours and time every single day to get there. You know, John Paul started Paul Mitchell Hair Products with $700 in his pocket. All he had was $700, but this ridiculous, obsessive, sickening work ethic to turn his $700 into something more. He was willing to put it all on the line to do venture after venture in what he believed, to turn it into something powerful. And eventually it led to being a billionaire. And still, he hasn't stopped even once he got there. Because it's just about never being satisfied with your past performances and not being afraid to just go out there and do the damn thing. No one got to where they were without brick walls or stumbles along the way. Because no matter how good your idea is or how much work you're willing to put into it, there are always going to be those dream killers. There's always going to be those people who say that it can't be done. But the only one who can prove them right or wrong is you. The only one holding you back is yourself. And any brick walls that come your way, you just have to ask yourself, are you willing to get past the wall, or are you going to let it stop you? Because these brick walls, they exist for one reason, and one reason only, to signify how bad you want something. No business or endeavor was magically produced overnight. It is the result of getting past brick wall after brick wall. It all comes down to how you're willing to see your idea and your endeavor through to the end. You know, you can always point the finger at somebody else or something and say that that was the reason why you didn't get to where you wanted to be. You know, people make excuses about the economy and say that that's why they're not successful. Yet, in the 1980s, inflation and unemployment were worse than it is today. You know, you can always point the finger at someone else and say that's the reason. But in reality, it's all up to you. You have a choice every single day with what you're going to do with your life, or who you're going to spend it with, or where you're going to spend your money. But if you just go out and do what you're passionate about and what you believe in, you're going to be amazed at how far it's going to take you.
I have a dream.
You just need to believe enough in what you will do.
Even the state of Mississippi.
You've got to believe that your cause is worth making as many sacrifices as it may possibly take to get there. The successful people in this world, you know, those future business leaders of tomorrow, those future professional athletes and musicians and actors and community leaders, the future president of the United States, they are not afraid to create their own opportunities. They know where they are going in this world. They know where they are going to end up. Do you?
I just want to point out a few things that were definitely stood out for me. So really in this battle, this internal battle, there's, as a reference, two types of people. You know, type one is, you know, those people that strive to be number one in what they do. And they always focus on trying to do and be better. You know, they're willing to risk it, make their own luck, live life on their terms. You know, isn't that what we're doing here with ACN and the goals that we want to achieve? You know, the one person that can make that, type one, they're the one person that can make that decision. You know, it referenced in the video, you know, they can condition their minds to think they are going to succeed in anything they do, because truly anything is possible, you know. But then there's the type two people. Here's that internal battle. You know, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too negative. Oh, I'm too all-knowing. I know I've tried that before. It's not going to work. Or I've seen my cousin Ray try that and it just didn't work. You know, I'm too full of myself. Then there's this type 2 that also they wait for life to happen to them, not willing to put in the work to make life theirs. They're afraid to own it, own their own business, to own their own actions, to own their own, responses and everything. They're not being responsible for themselves. They often say that the type 1 people are lucky, as it said, or they're just a product of good circumstances. They just got lucky. That's how they made it. That's how the Mr. Al Thomas, senior vice president. He just got lucky. He just got lucky. Mr. Byron Nelson. He just got lucky. He just got. They'll say that, but they're really these type 2 people. They're the dream killer, and really I reference this type 1 and type 2, but they're also inside our brain, and that's why it's an internal battle. But then also that type 1 comes back in strong and says, these are the ones that made the decision to determine their own fate. They put in the hours to get to where they want to be. They are willing to put it all on the line. They're not satisfied with past performances. And, really, this part right here actually stuck out to me because in my journey with ACN, I actually got to a point where I was satisfied with my past performances. And, I got a bunch of customers in and started growing a big team nationally, internationally, had customers in countries that I'd never been to. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. Woo, let's go. And I stopped and I got happy with where I was. And I thought that was it. But it's not true. I did nothing. And we can't do this, people. I can tell you that you cannot do this. We have to continue growing. We can't be, we got 2 points in today. Okay, I'm going to take the week off. That was tough. Oh man. We have to continue to grow and continue to focus on our business, growing our business, and strive to do and be better. Only truly what it is you seek in life and why you're here and why you are a part of this business. And really, you're the only one who can prove the type 2 people right or wrong. The only one. So the type 2 voice, this is an example of some of the things this type 2 voice might be saying in your head. And I'll say for myself, I'm not perfect. And these voices come through in my head as I clearly, told you the story at the beginning, but some of the voices might be, I don't have the confidence to meet people. I don't really know what I'm talking about. This whole ACN thing, is ACN really real? I don't dress well enough for this. What am I, I can't, do this. Maybe they're right. You know what? They're right. They're right. My family, my friends, my spouse, maybe they're all right. This doesn't work. I don't speak well enough for this. I can't do it. Why am I doing this? I don't have enough education. What happened to me when I was younger makes me this way. And that's why I can't do it. Or I'm not enough. Or even, is it worth it? All these different voices. These are just some examples of this type 2 voice that's in our head that we hear from, around us when we're growing this business. And you know what? We've got to stop that. Because the only question you should be asking when these come up is, are you going to let this voice stop you? Are you going to let this voice stop you? That voice is the dream killer. Miss Diana Garrison, I see you shaking your head. No, we cannot let this voice stop us. We have to move forward. Stop pointing the finger. We have to stop pointing the finger. Stop making excuses for the reason why we aren't where we want to be. Or, as I mentioned, the economy, it's COVID. COVID is the reason why I can't grow my business the way it is. We don't have in-person meetings anymore. And we make all these excuses. And you know what? It's just an excuse. When it boils down to it, the difference between these 2 types of people, there's only one difference. It's fear. And fear, and the definition of fear, I found this online, but it's kind of it stuck with me when I saw it. It resonated with me because fear is actually, there's no true threat of immediate physical danger. no threat of a loss of someone or something dear to us. Actually, nothing there at all. F-E-A-R, fear. It is an illusion, something we fabricate in our own minds and pretend it is real. False evidence appearing real. Now, I know we've all heard Mr. Thomas say it time and time again, but I just had to reiterate it again. False evidence appearing real. You know, what follows fear is actually these excuses we give ourselves. And it's time for us to cut the bull, cut it out, cut it, and stop making excuses for ourselves. You know, really, excuses are just ways that we handicap ourselves in everything we do. You know, it allows us to avoid the truth. You know, it justifies us being average or being ordinary. You know, it's like, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to grow outside of my comfort zone. You know, it's okay. I'm going to make people feel uncomfortable. You know, they're just, excuses are tools of the incompetence that build monuments of nothingness. And those who use them seldom do anything else. And I'm going to repeat that again. Excuses are tools of the incompetence that build monuments of nothingness, and those who use them seldom do anything else. Now, wow. I mean, it's so true. It's so true. And so really, what you tell yourself is the most powerful tool you will ever own. Now, just want to do one last thing here, or two last things. One, I want to play another video, quick video. And this one is one that completely motivates me when I'm feeling down. When I hear this voice, this is the one video that shakes me out of that thought process and says, you know what? Call that customer. You know what? Call that business partner. You know what? Yeah, I know you're tired, but hey, you can do a little more. Just do a little more. Just do a little bit more. And this is the video that really, really powerful. And I thought to share this on my, first training call that, because it's one that really, really speaks to my soul. So, and then right after the video, I just want to do one last thing really quickly, and then I'm gonna give it back to you, Mr. Lewis. So here, just give me 1 second.
Your mouth is a creative weapon. It's not a tool for distributing excuses. The first sign of a loser is an excuse. Champions take full responsibility, good or bad, for their outcomes. Tell the world one time what you're gonna do, and that's it. Spend less time talking and more time grinding. Think like a champion. Speak like a champion. And then walk it out. Grind 120 all day, every day. Stop making excuses. Champions make adjustments, not excuses. Every time you justify being average, you invite in the enemy. Mediocrity is a dream killer. Your coach, your trainer, your teacher, your boss is not the problem. It's your consistency. You gotta make a decision. How bad do you want it? Average is on the left, success is on the right. You gotta choose which one you want. A champion's workout doesn't officially begin until pain arrives. You see, greatness is right on the other side of pain. So what are you running from it for? You say you want to be successful, then push through it. Stop making excuses and go get it. Very few battles are won under ideal circumstances. So you gotta simulate and practice the unknown so that the unexpected will not derail you. Every morning when you get up, ask yourself, how can I put myself in a place where I'll be uncomfortable? See, you have to master the unknown. You gotta master your fears. You gotta master the unexpected. So when it happens, you are prepared. Champions can push through and keep going when everyone else around them is quitting. They have immersed themselves in pain so often that they have become immune to it. Greatness is on the other side of pain. Go get it! The more you expose yourself to pain, the more comfortable you will become in its presence. A champion's workout doesn't officially start until pain arrives. Everything else is just a warm-up. A boxer can be the best technician in the world, but if he gets in the ring and the first time he gets hit, he falls apart, he's not gonna be a champion, I tell you that. See, in life it's just like that with us. We're good until we get hit in the face. But what separates champions from the rest is when they get hit, they keep coming. When you hit them a second time, they get stronger. And by that third time that life hits you and you're still standing, the world will know there's a champion in the ring. How bad do you want to be successful? Do you want it bad enough to get hit in the face? Because I tell you right now, that's what life's gonna do to you. It's gonna hit you when you least expect it, when you got your guard down. How will you respond? Refuse to let the world break you. Show life what a champion looks like. I'm Billy Osbrooks, blessed and unstoppable.
You've got to understand that at some point, life is going to throw you a curveball. There's no getting around that. You can create excuses or you can produce results, but you can't do both.
The only way you can mature, the only way you can turn the corner in your life is to own your smack. In other words, everything in your life is your fault. If you don't, you will underperform all your life because of these excuses. And before you know it, you would have justified being average. You would have justified being stuck. And the worst thing about making excuses is if you believe them. The worst part about an excuse, if you believe it yourself, you see an excuse as a way that you handicap yourself. Think about it, when you can't walk because you're handicapped, you need help getting around. If you're handicapped, you can't run. Don't handicap yourself because you've been trained and you've been allowed to make excuses to justify everything. An excuse avoids the truth, my friend. But hear me clearly. The truth will set you free. So do you want to be bound by your excuses? Or do you want to be freed by the truth?
Excuses will not help you. When someone says no, I say next. Yes, I might get upset. Yes, I might be frustrated. Yes, I might be disappointed. But I'm not gonna sit there in my emotions. I'm not gonna sit there and have a pity party. I'm going to go harder. What did I say? I'm not gonna sit there and have a pity party. I am going to go harder.
I am in control of my destiny, just like I was in control of my past. Whatever happens in my life is up to me. If I succeed, I take credit. If I fail, I take credit. My life is my fault. Every morning, my friend, can you recite that to yourself? I am in control of my destiny, just like I was in control of my past. Whatever happens in my life is up to me. If I succeed, I take credit. If I fail, I take credit. My life is my fault. Stop making excuses. Get after it where you are right now and repeat after me. I am in control of my destiny.
So I'm challenging you to take action with the resources that you have right now. And if you don't have enough resources, go after them. That's commitment. No excuses. You might think that you're at the end of your rope, but you're not. You might think that you don't have any more fight in you, but you do. You might think that you don't have any more strength left, but you do. You've got more fight in you. You've got more strength in you. You've got more wisdom in you. There is no time for excuses.
But I would have done it, but I was about to do it, but I was on my way, but my life didn't change until I stopped making excuses. Your life won't change until you stop making excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetence that build monuments of nothingness, and those who use them seldom do anything else. There's been many quotes, there's been many statements about excuses are the tools of incompetence. Here's the truth, you're not incompetent. You might be using the word but it's not because you're dumb. You don't understand how dangerous that word is. I'm coming here today to warn you. I'm coming here today to protect you. Stop using the word but. If you're not careful, it's a part of your vocabulary. If you're not careful, it can become a part of your DNA.
You've got to be willing to look past your current circumstances into the future. It's not about the threat, it's about the opportunity.
And if you don't like where you are right now, stop using the word but. If you don't like your circumstances, stop using the word but.
How many athletes have you seen play injured? They showed up hurting. They could have used their pain as an excuse, but they used it as their fuel.
You need to make the most out of every situation, which means you need to discipline your mind. No matter what happens, no matter what result, you're gonna learn from it. You gotta say to yourself, I'm all good, I just got better. I'm not where I need to be, but I just got better. You need to stop taking and start giving.
Are you going to put in the work or not? Are you going to find a way to reach your goals or not?
Your role is to dominate where you are right now. I don't care what your salary is. I don't care what your title is. Dominate where you are right now so you can get in position to get promoted. Stop justifying. Stop making excuses and dominate where you are right now. You got to set goals that create pressure. Stop wasting your time making excuses and blaming other people. You need to set goals and pursue them, but you got to set goals and create pressure and get some support until you get there. And the worst thing you can do is let yourself off the hook. And that's what excuses do. You let yourself off the hook when you set a goal, when you have a dream, when you have a vision. Don't you ever let yourself off the hook. No more excuses, my friend. Every time you hear the word but, everything after it is an excuse.
Right. That one, that video. I was watching, at least the ones of you guys have their cameras on, and I could just see everyone nodding their heads and taking notes. Ms. Newsom, I actually saw you on the call last night, the customer acquisition call, so asking her questions. So thanks for that contribution on that call. Ms. Catherine Williams, I saw you there. You intently watching the screen. Ms. Diana Garrison, I saw you nodding your head in agreement. Mr. Sam Foster. Miss Pat Robinson, Dale Ranson, you actually turned your body to the screen to watch it. So yes, Miss Marie Belina, yes, I saw you diligently taking notes. Miss Victoria Hardy, I saw you there taking notes and intently into it. So I just want to say to you guys, thank you for joining me on my very first leadership call, training call for the morning. But I just want to leave you with just one last thing. And this is something that I hope this resonated with me. And actually, this training actually did more for me than I thought it would. But this is something that in the last video, I actually didn't catch it until I listened to it over and over and over again in preparation for this call. But one of the things I'm going to start repeating to myself daily to help me, and feel free to take a screenshot of it, write it down, whatever you need. I'm gonna leave it here. But I ask you to just repeat it with me right now, and this is the last thing I'll do, and I'll give it back to you, Mr. Lewis. But just read it with me, along with me if you can. I am in control of my destiny, just like I was in control of my past. Whatever happens in my life is up to me. If I succeed, I take credit. If I fail, I take credit. My life is my fault. I am in control of my destiny. Stop making excuses. You can tell my dog, actually, I don't know if you could hear him, he got excited about repeating this as well in the background. But Just want to leave you guys with that. I hope this blessed you. Thank you, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll. Thank you for all the leaders on the call. Miss Natasha, always chiming in and, pushing me. So I really appreciate everyone on the call for joining, and I hope this blesses you today. And thank you to all the veterans. Thank you.